our individual and collective resource of knowledge. The knowledge is in our bodies, and talked about some instinct and intuition earlier on, but you can actually grow intuition. You can create body memories. And by trusting this embodied knowledge, the women's transition from pregnancy and birth and motherhood, parenthood, is eased. So, the cultural fusion is the way of the future on both sides of the looking glass. It's the way for these people to become proud of their heritage, and it's the way for us to integrate their knowledge. So I chose two examples. I chose the example of the kangaroo care, which Robin mentioned earlier, and also because we learned from Ecuadorian women who did not have access to incubators, how the body heat would work. And then the vertical birth, parto vertical, is now in Peru and in Ecuador and Bolivia, in all the Andean countries. It's the way in which we force women to go to hospital. They are forced to go to hospital, but in the hospital they try to integrate the home practices of birthing upright. And this is a really great change that's happening right now. So it's a compromise, but nevertheless, it's cultural integration. So we educate in body-based awareness, we revalue sensory learning, and we acknowledge and nurture body-based practice. And this reconnects us to the global ancestral path of practical parenting wisdom. And if you think of confinement and all the renewals of confinement in Asia that are still, the section rate is rising, but the confinement practices are becoming more and more developed. And embodied knowledge is increasingly validated by the findings of scientific and medical research. And if you think of the body of research on body massage, on baby massage, for example, on its own, that's a fantastic achievement. And then a careful process of evaluation and adaptation is necessary. Some practices are dangerous. Some pregnancy massage practices done by Maya midwives were actually quite dangerous by putting too much pressure on the abdomen. Some ways of treating babies in other cultures are actually even physically damaging. So we need to be selective. So I have chosen 8 core practices of Birthlight to do a sort of integrated presentation. And these practices are creating a circle of friends, breathing to calmness, because when we have calmness, we do a pause, as we heard earlier this morning, that there's that need for the pause, and that pause helps us to think about burning the rice or whatever we need to think about. Birthing lightly, there is no need to birth violently, and creating a peaceful world for us is also about peaceful birthing. But this can be patiently transmitted. Alignment and rhythms, we are creatures of rhythm, and even the way we do yoga in the West is very rectangular. It's on a rectangular mat, and it's always parallel lines, so we've brought in the spirals and the rhythm in it, the dance. And this leads us to develop spirals of joy, and these spirals are between parent and child, and between child and child, and parent. And we practice active bonding. We believe that bonding in practice, bonding is not, talking is great, but doing is really even better. Talking and doing together, probably even better. And that we need to nurture, we need to mother the mother, and that's what Marshall Klaus said. This is how the doula movement was created. There was great achievements through the doula movement, and we need to mother the mother and the father. A mother who hasn't been mothered cannot really easily mother a baby. So mothering the mother by example, as well as Naomi said earlier, we have to show and menace. We have to leave the message, and then we weave co-strengths, because if our bodies are strong, the Amazonian women told me, well, you know where your power is. Your power is in your lower pelvis, of course. That's where it is. You cannot carry a weight on your head if you're not strong. You cannot live the life they live if you're not strong. You cannot keep a man if you're not strong. That's many reasons to be strong. So, circles of friends, yeah, this is doing crafts, and then the translation, creating body memories. And I think a lot of women who've been in our groups have these body memories for a long time. And then we breathe into calmness, so we work in the water as well, and the water is a very powerful conveying element. It's a facilitator. So the work in the water is very powerful for resolving emotions. And we work in couples. We weave scope from within, and you can see Sally on the picture, pregnant with her last baby. We use the walls, we use each other. We work from within. And we also do rhythms in the water, and we integrate the babies. And the babies love seeing their mums going from side to side, doing their triangle pose in a flowing way. And they think it's a great entertainment. They really love their mums for being a show. So we make space and we undo resistance by birthing lightly. So in order to give birth, you don't need to do anything. You need to undo the fear and undo the resistance with the breath, and then also by undoing this shaft model of birthing, and then also by breathing you give birth to your breath first, and then you've internalized the birthing action. You're contacting your birthing muscles with the breath. The babies follow the breath. The breath is the scout for the baby. So once a woman has done this, no virtual contractions or mock contractions or pinching you to experience pain. That works on another part of the brain. We try to work with the birthing muscles and the breath, and once you give birth to the breath, the baby follows. And we teach trust by also understanding what happens in the nervous system. And what Vivette talked about this morning is integrated in the ancient science of the rishis, of these yogas, who 3,000-4,000 years ago, they didn't know this picture. They did not know that the sacral plexus nerves extend into neurons all from the sacrum all the way to the surface of the uterus. And so when the mother strokes her child, which I saw someone doing earlier on, she directly stimulates the production of hormones, which then are passed to the baby through the placenta, as Vivette showed this morning. And there are also more subtle practices like this mudra, and if you want to all do it, you will feel how containing it is, how wonderfully integrating it is. And if you have the picture of the little bird inside your hand, and so you contact all the reflex points, the termination points, so there are all sorts of things that we still don't understand that are happening through these mudras, but they are powerful and they act on both bodies and minds. So we are reinventing traditions. I don't know if some of you went to the Red Tent in Scotland. We recreate birthing huts by home birth with doulas, and we have baby moons. We learn to change and accept the unknown, to ride the emotional roller coasters, and to share and celebrate the